That may be the greatest catch I've ever seen in my life.
All right, guys, I have a major announcement before we get into the video. The Fantasy Flock Network is now looking for contributors for the channel. During the main football season, whenever we blew up on the main channel and we were having close to 70,000 views a day, I was getting multiple DMs every single day saying, hey, how can I get involved? Can I make videos for you? Can I edit videos? Can I make graphics? Can I do research? And my reply to those people was, I am sorry, but I just don't have the time to try to implement that into a new system right now. We're making 4 to 5 videos every single day, live streaming every night. That's the last thing I can be thinking about. Well, now it's the off season. Now I am only making 2 videos a day on 2 separate channels, and we have a ton of time to be able to implement a system where there are multiple contributors. So I'll say what we are looking for in contributors is anything from people to make videos themselves. Specifically though, I am actually going to be looking for people who are into fantasy baseball to make videos, so make sure you DM me that way. I am also looking for people that can possibly edit videos, and most importantly, I am looking for people that can make graphics. So yeah, if you've just been wanting to get involved in the fantasy football space, if you're wanting to do anything of that nature, or if you have a separate idea of something that you could do, I would love to hear from you. And you can either email me, DM me on Twitter, DM me on Instagram, whatever y'all would like to do. I'll leave all that information down there in the description of the video. And I'll also try my best to remember to go down there and put it in the comment section as well. Now, thank you guys. Let's dive into this video. And what I'm going to be doing in this video is I'm going to be going over some real Dynasty trade offers that I've sent out in our Flock Patreon Dynasty Leagues. This is going to include both Cam Akers and AJ Dillon, as I have them on a significant amount of teams. And while AJ Dillon was a player that I was telling y'all to go and try to buy low on during this season when nobody was talking about him, so we have a ton of shares. On the other hand, over the past few weeks, other fantasy podcasters have realized, oh crap, AJ Dillon is going to be a thing in 2021. And they have been talking about AJ Dillon just because they're trying to catch up, and AJ Dillon's price has risen to a point where we paid a lot less for him than he is currently going. And I might as well go in a few leagues, take that instant profit when we have really yet to see him do anything on the football field. And then on the other side with Cam Akers, the reason that I am looking to sell is simply just because we have him in so many Dynasty leagues and his value has skyrocketed since we drafted him. We were drafting him around that rookie pick 107 in our Dynasty Superflex rookie drafts last offseason. And I'm not going to sit here and act like I was the biggest fan of Cam Akers on the world. I mean, yes, we liked him. That's why we have him in so many leagues. But I think if I can just go out here and sell for a profit in a few of those, that's something that we would definitely look to do. Okay, so let's go through, and our first league that we are going to talk about is actually going to be a tight end premium league, and I'm going to be trading away Cam Akers for a tight end that I have so much of at the same time, but I truly believe that he is still an elite option at the position. He is my #1 tight end in Dynasty, and this is George Kittle. Now, I know George Kittle had a very disappointing 2020 season, but we need to separate the fact that he let down his fantasy owners with the fact that it was 100% due to injury. Now, even when George Kittle was on the football field with a healthy Brandon Ayuk, with a healthy Deebo Samuel, and a Jimmy Garoppolo that was not healthy, and he was having backup quarterback production come in, George Kittle was straight up dominating at the NFL level. I am confident in saying, while Travis Kelce may be the best receiving tight end in the entire NFL, George Kittle is the best complete tight end where you can ask him to stay in line and block, so he's going to be in the red zone every single time for the San Francisco 49ers offense. This is why we know that he has such a high touchdown upside season to season. And at the same time with George Kittle, he has an elite yards after the catch ability where really no other tight end in the NFL can even compare to George Kittle. He was drafted in 2017, so this is not a tight end that we have to worry about falling off anytime soon due to his age. I just think that if we move Cam Akers for Kittle, especially in a tight end premium league where we are getting 1.5 points per reception, that is going to make so much sense. If you look at what the winning strategy was for fantasy leagues in 2020, it was going out there and drafting a Travis Kelce, going out there and drafting a Darren Waller, and getting that elite tight end production in your lineup every single week. You had those top 3 tight ends in George Kittle, Travis Kelce, and Darren Waller, straight up doubling the production of like the tight end 6 on a points per game basis, where they were on a completely different tier and giving you an edge that was almost impossible to find anywhere else. Now, a lot of people in the Dynasty community don't necessarily remember that with George Kittle, if he is not in that top tier, he is in a tier above. I mean, he is the truly elite option at the tight end position in Dynasty, especially considering Travis Kelce's age. I think trading for George Kittle makes so much sense coming off that injury. He should be 100% good to go next season. All right, so now our next trade that we are going to be sending out is going to be in that same league. And in this league, what I did is I took Cam Akers and I offered him for Clyde Edwards-Helaire plus a second-round rookie pick in 2021. And my thought process behind this trade here is, yes, CEH has been mainly disappointing. He's been, I want to say, probably the most disappointing rookie in 2020. But at the same time, we know he is tied to that Kansas City Chiefs offense. And we know that he was a first-round draft pick by Andy Reid and that front office. So they have the investment into Clyde Edwards-Helaire, where even if he is a significantly worse running back than Cam Akers in terms of his just pure talent, it may not necessarily matter, where they are going to be looking at this running back who is 21 years old going into the next season and go, you know what? He is getting paid this much. We took him in the first round. We need to get him involved. We need to figure out what we are doing wrong in our scheme. We need to be throwing him the ball a little bit more in the flat. I don't know why they have not been doing that so far in 2020. I don't know if Clyde Edwards-Helaire is just truly that bad of a running back, where Darrell Williams is consistently outproducing and consistently out-touching him. But if we are going to be able to get who was my running back 1 after the NFL draft because of his situation at this massive discount and adding on a secondary piece for a running back that I had lower than Clyde Edwards-Helaire in our fantasy football rankings an offseason ago, I think that's something that I would be willing to do, considering I only have Clyde Edwards-Helaire in 1 Dynasty Fantasy Football League. Something that's extremely surprising, in my opinion, because I had CEH as our bona fide rookie running back 1 after the NFL draft, especially after Damian Williams opted out in 2020. But I just kind of got lucky in that we were not picking at the very beginning of fantasy drafts last offseason, because if I was, I would have a ton of Clyde Edwards-Helaire, but we were picking later in the first round. So instead of having a ton of CEH, while I did like him more than Akers an offseason ago, we ended up with so many Cam Akers shares, where if I can diversify here a little bit and get a second piece, that's something I would be looking to do. All right, so now let's move over from Cam Akers. Let's go over to A.J. Dillon, and let me talk about what we are offering A.J. Dillon for. In our first trade, it's going to be A.J. Dillon for Courtland Sutton. And here with Courtland Sutton, if y'all been following this channel for a while, y'all know last offseason, I was calling Courtland Sutton, as well as Nick Chubb, as well as Devin Singletary, some of the most overvalued players in Dynasty Fantasy Football. And while, yes, it definitely worked out not having Courtland Sutton in a single league, it's not because I was smart. It's just because we got lucky, and I can't sit here and say for sure that our evaluation of Courtland Sutton in offseason ago was correct, where I was viewing him as, yes, the wide receiver 1 for the Denver Broncos behind Jerry Jeudy. I just thought it was a lot closer than most people wanted to make it out to be. Now, in Dynasty Fantasy Football Leagues, people are valuing Jerry Jeudy significantly higher than Courtland Sutton. And if you don't remember, last offseason, it was switched. Last offseason, people thought that Courtland Sutton was the clear bona fide wide receiver 1 over Jerry Jeudy, and there was not even a conversation to be had between who was going to be leading that team in targets. So that was my problem with Sutton an offseason ago. I was sitting here going, you know what, guys? I mean, they decided to take Jerry Jeudy in the first. They decided to take KJ Hamler in the second. Who is to say that Courtland Sutton is going to be a wide receiver seeing 22% of his team's targets? That's why I was low on him. But now that everybody wants to discount him for no reason based on the injury, I think this is another spot where if I can sell in A.J. Dillon, who has not done anything at the NFL level so far, and I understand, guys, I was telling y'all to buy A.J. Dillon a month ago, 2 months ago. You can go find videos on this channel of me telling you to do so. That was because A.J. Dillon's price was significantly lower. And yeah, I mean, I would love to just keep that take on the same level. But when A.J. Dillon has not necessarily done anything himself to drastically change his evaluation, and really just everybody else is catching up to the overall context of the situation that Aaron Jones is an undrafted free agent. I'm sorry, that he is going to be an unrestricted free agent this offseason. Yeah, I mean, A.J. Dillon, we've, I think, appropriately valued him in our own Dynasty Fantasy Football Leagues for a very long time. And that's why I went out there and I was a buyer 2 months ago. But now everybody else wants to raise his price. I think maybe it's a time to just sell for an instant profit. Okay, so now our next A.J. Dillon trade is going to be A.J. Dillon in a second-round rookie pick in 2021 for either one of Amari Cooper or Mike Evans. Now, obviously, these are two separate trades, but here I am looking at Amari Cooper and Mike Evans, and based on our new Dynasty mock drafts, where A.J. Dillon is only going a round or two behind these wide receivers that are currently in their prime. They are still top producers at the NFL level, and they have been so consistent when given the opportunity, and they have the pedigree. They are first-round draft picks. They have the team investment. They've done it for a very long duration of time. In my opinion, these are two completely different Dynasty Fantasy Football assets. I'm looking at A.J. Dillon, and he is 100% speculation. I'm going, yes. I mean, I liked him 2 months ago because everybody else was evaluating him as a third-round rookie pick, which I thought was ridiculous. But now people want to act like he is a for sure thing. I think maybe what we do is we add a small piece to that quote-unquote for sure thing, and we pick up a piece that is truly a cornerstone for a Dynasty Fantasy Football roster for the next 2 or 3 seasons in Amari Cooper or Mike Evans. So yeah, I know this video may be a little bit confusing because I've been telling y'all to try to buy Cam Akers and A.J. Dillon for like a year now, but this is sometimes what happens in Dynasty Fantasy Football. And this is why I love Dynasty Fantasy Football, because we can be high on a player and then his value can skyrocket and we can go, you know what? I've been here the entire time. Y'all went from here, so I thought he was a buy low. Now y'all are jumping up here. So now I think he's a sell high. I mean, it's that easy. So yeah, let me know what y'all think of the video. Let me know what y'all think of these possible trades. And if I am stupid, if I am asking for too much, because I'm just trying to cash in on the hype and diversify more my portfolio a little bit. But thank you guys. I really hope y'all enjoyed this video. I really hope y'all got something from it. As always, if y'all did, go down there, drop a like, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel. It helps us so much. And I hope I'll be hearing from you soon if you're wanting to get involved with the Fantasy Flock Network.